Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Zhang. Here are some of today's top stories. The Supreme Court struck down a Trump-era ban on bump stocks. They say the ban on machine guns does not apply to bump stocks. Some California lawmakers want a statewide ban on schools choosing to notify parents about their kids' gender changes. The Likes tab is now hidden on social media platform X. More on the update on how users are reacting. First up, the Supreme Court struck down a Trump-era ban on bump stocks. The rapid-fire gun accessories were used in a Las Vegas shooting that killed 60 people and injured hundreds more. The Supreme Court strikes down a federal ban on bump stocks on guns. Bump stocks allows a shooter to convert a semi-automatic rifle into a weapon that can fire at a rate of hundreds of rounds a minute. The Trump administration imposed the ban after the 2017 Las Vegas shooting. In a 6-3 opinion, the justices ruled that the ban on machine guns doesn't apply to bump stocks. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote the opinion for a 6-3 court. The court's liberal wing, led by Justice Sonia Sotomayor, dissented. They wrote, quote, "A bump stock does not convert a semi-automatic rifle into a machine gun any more than a shooter with a lightning-fast trigger finger does. Even with a bump stock, a semi-automatic rifle will fire only one shot per every function of the trigger." The three liberal justices dissented. They wrote that the striking down the ban hamstrings the government's efforts to keep machine guns from gunmen like the Las Vegas shooter. Independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says he has submitted enough signatures to appear on the general election ballot in Alaska and Tennessee. This development comes as the deadline to qualify for CNN's presidential debate rapidly approaches. The Kennedy-Shanahan ticket is now on the ballot in 8 states. The campaign claims to have gathered enough signatures for 13 more states, totaling 292 electoral votes. This is crucial as they aim to qualify for CNN's June 27th presidential debate, with the eligibility window closing on June 20th. To join the debate, candidates must be on enough state ballots to reach the 270 electoral vote threshold, based on the debate qualification rules listed by CNN. Kennedy recently filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission accusing CNN of colluding with Biden and Trump's campaigns to exclude him from the debate. California is more than doubling the number of National Guard troops across the state and at border ports of entry. One of the main goals is to stop fentanyl and other drugs from ending up on California's streets. Governor Gavin Newsom says the number of service members will go from around 150 to almost 400. It's unclear how many of the new troops will be stationed at the ports of entry. Newsom said in a statement that our top priority is the safety of our communities statewide. He added that the state and local and federal partners are working together to take down transnational organizations. Last year, California already increased the number of troops at the border by 50%. The governor's office says that increase helped to support a record seizure of over 60,000 pounds of fentanyl in 2023. Disney is asking a federal appeals court to dismiss its lawsuit against the Florida governor Ron Desantis. That's after the governor's appointees on the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District reached a deal with the company on development of Walt Disney World over the next 15 years. As part of the deal, Disney has agreed to invest $17 billion in Disney World over the next 2 decades. The Central Florida Tourism Oversight District has committed to improving the infrastructure on the resort's property. Disney controlled the municipal services in the district before DeSantis' oversight appointees took over. The deal allows Disney to build a 5th major theme park and 2 more smaller parks if it chooses. It also received approval to increase the number of hotel rooms on its property. California is on track to ban schools from notifying parents of their child's pronoun change. The California Senate approved the controversial legislation as the bill faced legal challenges over parental rights.
School districts in California would be barred from requiring teachers to notify parents if their child asks to go by a new pronoun at school. The legislature has been weighing the bill, called the Safety Act, amid legal battles over the rights of parents and gender non-conforming students. The state Senate approved the proposal Thursday. The bill, AB 1955, introduced by Assemblymember Chris Ward, would ban school districts from passing or enforcing policies requiring school staff to disclose a student's gender identity or sexual orientation to anyone else without the child's permission, with some exceptions. The goal is to protect students whose safety could be threatened if they live in unwelcoming households.
Forced outing policies have a measurable impact on mental health of LGBTQ students and have led to a rise in bullying, harassment, and discrimination. Although many LGBTQ youth have supportive families, some unfortunately continue to face rejection and are exposed to serious harm if prematurely forced to reveal their identity.
Lawmakers approved the legislation along party lines after more than an hour of discussion. They argued gender non-conforming students should be able to come out to their families on their own terms. But Republican lawmakers said the state shouldn't dictate whether school districts can enforce so-called parental notification policies and that schools have an obligation to be transparent with parents. In an open letter to the California School Boards Association earlier this month, an organization called Students First California strongly opposes the bill. They say this bill threatens parental rights, erodes the trust between parents and schools, and undermines local control. If passed, AB 1955 will harm all education stakeholders, students, parents, schools, and teachers. The bill now heads to the state assembly, where it would need to pass in committees and on the floor before it can reach Governor Gavin Newsom's desk, whose administration has fought school boards over the notification policies. The debate over the policies is playing out in court cases across the state.
Social media platform X took away the likes tab for all users. Now the only other person that can see who liked a post is that post's author. NTD's Jason Blair brings us more on the update and how users are reacting.
X made the announcement on Wednesday, and when many users logged in, they saw a pop-up saying, liking more posts will make your For You feed better, suggesting that the change is to encourage more engagement around the site and to be able to show people more content that they want to see. The reactions have been mixed. Many users expressed confusion about the change, including a technology expert I spoke with who doesn't like the direction the site is going.
Yeah, it's just really odd, all the things that X is doing. I mean, I don't understand why they are privatizing likes on the platform, but it definitely is trying to evolve into a pay-to-play service as far as social media is concerned. So
many users posted jokes in response, like pizza chain Papa John's, saying, quote, since Twitter likes are private now, like this if you think pineapple belongs on pizza. On the day of the announcement, Elon Musk posted a chart and said that there was a massive increase in likes since the change was made. X is the only major social media site that had a separate tab with the user's likes history visible to the public. Before the change, hiding likes used to be an option only for premium subscribers. However, now all users have private likes with no other options. The like count for post is still shown, however, no one's able to see who likes a specific post except for that post creator. Now, this is one difference X now has from other popular platforms like Facebook and Instagram, where users are able to see who likes another user's post. Jason Blair, NTD News.
Astronauts can spend a lot of time in space, but how does that impact their bodies? Researchers have studied the bodies of space tourists to find out.
Space tourists experience some of the same body changes as astronauts who spend months in orbit. According to new studies published Tuesday, those shifts mostly return to normal once people return to Earth. Research on 4 space tourists is included in a series of studies on the health effects of space travel down to the molecular level. The findings paint a clearer picture of how people who don't undergo years of astronaut training adapt to weightlessness and space radiation.
This is the first time we've had a cell-by-cell examination of a crew when they go into space and look at T cells, B cells, all the different components of the immune system. We do this for patients at the hospital and patients in research, but this is the first time we really had a cellular, high granularity view of what happens to the body in space.
NASA and others have long studied the toll of space travel on astronauts, including year-long residents of the International Space Station, but there's been less attention on space tourists. The first tourist to visit the space station was in 2001, and opportunities for private space travel have expanded in recent years. While in space, the 4 passengers on the SpaceX flight, dubbed Inspiration 4, collected samples of blood, saliva, skin, and more. Researchers analyzed the samples and found wide-ranging shifts in cells and changes to the immune system. Most of these shifts stabilized in the months after the 4 returned home, and the researchers found that the short-term spaceflight didn't pose significant health risks.
This is very good news for commercial space travelers, people who want to go to space that are looking at these upcoming missions that would go potentially around the moon and farther into space, because it shows that the human body is very adaptive. And even if you're not Olympic athlete level or been training for 10 years to be an astronaut, you can head up into space and actually the body will adapt and you can come back pretty safely.
The papers, which were published Tuesday in Nature journals and are now part of a database, include the impact of spaceflight on the skin, kidneys, and immune system.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. 3 California police officers honored for saving a young boy from choking. More on what happened of the special device they used. The NFL declares the Falcons tampered with Kirk Cousins, and golfers kick off the 2024 U.S. Open Championship. It's time to celebrate Dad. We have some last-minute items that are perfect for the occasion. Those stories and more coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Zhang. In California, 3 police officers are being honored for saving a young boy from choking with an anti-choking device. Here's NTD's BJ King with more on the awards ceremony.
The city of Omani this week is recognizing 3 police officers for their heroic efforts in saving the life of an 8-year-old child. The officers were able to save the boy with the use of an anti-choking device, for which they'll be presented an award for by the city council. On Tuesday night at Omani City Hall, Police Corporal Carlos Tello and officers Raul Vega and Dennis Chu received the life-saving award after their valiant success in saving the life of 8-year-old Ethan Conte. The incident occurred on June 3rd when the 3 officers responded to an emergency call, Officer Vega arriving first on the scene.
And when I arrived, I saw the family was outside in the parking lot and they were waving me down. When I stopped my car and I ran over to where they were pointing, I saw little Ethan, 8 years old, was on his back and he wasn't breathing. Officer Chu had his life back and Officer Corporal Tello took Ethan from me and laid him on the ground to hold him while I took the life back and put it over Ethan and used it. And we were able to get the candy out of his throat, out of his airway. The obstruction was removed from his airway, and that's what allowed him to breathe again.
During the ceremony, Police Chief Jake Fisher highlighted the life vac as a valuable resource to the Omani Police Department, even inviting the inventor of the device, Arthur Lee, to speak at the event.
This team, from the administration to the chief to dispatch to the officer, saved that child, saved the family, saved the community, and because of their willingness to share the story, they're going to save thousands. And because of everyone's efforts, we're going to save so many more. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you.
And as a heartwarming moment of community for the city of Omani, Ethan was invited by Chief Fisher to present the award to the 3 officers. Afterwards, we spoke with Officer Chu, who emphasized the usefulness of the device, describing its easy operation and recommending it as a valuable life-saving tool.
It's a very simple device to use. It's like a plunger, has 2 mouthpieces and then the handle, which acts as like a suction. So put it together and Officer Vega was applied to the boy's mouth. And after a few applications, it was able to work. I think it's very important for parents to just watch their kids, watch what they're putting in their mouths, and if possible, if you can get this LifeVac device, I would probably get one.
Police dispatchers Veronica Chacon and Sandra Gonzalez were also honored at the ceremony and received department commendations for their crucial and professional response. BJ Kang, NTD News, El Monte, California.
Now let's turn our attention to the world of sports. The NFL has handed down significant penalties to the Atlanta Falcons for improper conduct during free agency. And we've got the latest updates from the U.S. Open. NTD's Carlos Reyes has the details.
The Atlanta Falcons have found themselves in hot water just 3 months after signing star quarterback Kirk Cousins to a massive $180 million contract at the start of the 2024 NFL free agency period. On Thursday, the NFL announced that the Falcons had engaged in improper contact with Cousins and other free agents, resulting in penalties that included forfeiting a 2025 fifth-round pick and a $250,000 fine. The league's investigation revealed that Atlanta had violated tampering rules by having direct contact with Cousins, wide receiver Darnell Mooney, and tight end Charlie Warner during the negotiation period. Falcons general manager Terry Fontenot was also fined $50,000 for his role in these violations. The infractions involved improper communications, including discussions about travel arrangements, which are strictly prohibited by the NFL. The NFL's tampering policy allows teams to negotiate with the certified agents of free agents during a designated 2-day period. However, any direct contact between team representatives and players is forbidden. The league discovered that the Falcons had not adhered to these guidelines, particularly with logistical discussions occurring after the players had agreed to terms. The investigation into the Falcons' conduct began shortly after Cousins, previously with the Minnesota Vikings, signed his 4-year deal with Atlanta. Notably, Cousins did not visit any other teams before committing to the Falcons, which raised suspicions and prompted the NFL's scrutiny. Rory McIlroy is still in the race for his 5th major golf title after completing the 2nd round of the U.S. Open at Pinehurst. McIlroy, who shared the lead after a strong first round, ended the day 2 shots behind the leaders. On Thursday, McIlroy impressed with a 5-under par 65, putting him at the top of the leaderboard. However, Friday was more challenging. He finished the 2nd round with a 2-over par 72, making his total score 3-under for the tournament. Thomas Detry played well, matching McIlroy's score from the first round and briefly taking the lead. He ended the day at 4-under. Bryson DeChambeau also performed strongly, finishing his round at 4-under after a birdie on the last hole. In the afternoon, new players joined the leaders. Ludwig Aberg reached the top at 6-under, while Matthew Pavon climbed to 4-under. The cut line, which determines who will continue playing into the weekend, is also a key focus. Scottie Scheffler, who has been in top form this season, might miss his first cut in almost 2 years, and Tiger Woods is also at risk of missing the cut. A notable moment came when Sepp Straka made the first hole-in-one of the week on Friday morning. Carlos Reyes, NTD News.
Father's Day is this weekend, and many people are on the hunt for the perfect gifts to show their appreciation. NTD's Christina Corona highlights some of this year's popular picks.
Father's Day is just around the corner, but there's still plenty of time to find the perfect gift for Dad. Whether he's a fashion-forward gentleman or a backyard grill master, there's something special that will make his day. If your dad is more into outdoor activities and cooking, barbecue equipment could be the ideal choice. From high-quality grills to essential tools, you'll find everything he needs for a fantastic grilling season. Jennifer Young, who runs a gift store in Seattle, Washington, says,
dads who are grill masters, barbecue companion, barbecue books, lots of great cooking books for Dad.
Other great gift ideas can be a wallet, a set of golf clubs, outdoor camping gear, a portable speaker, or a great book.
We have this is a great one for getting a dad is the family bucket list, because then it shows that this is something you want to do with your dad as a family, make these memories together.
You can even consider classic options like stylish ties and sophisticated suits that will elevate his wardrobe and add a touch of elegance to his look. These timeless pieces are sure to make him feel appreciated and dapper. A personalized gift that reflects his hobbies and interests can be a meaningful and thoughtful present, showing that you have put effort into choosing something specifically tailored to his passions and activities. We asked several people what they are getting their dad this year for Father's Day.
My dad's a big country fan, so what I did was I got him some Luke Combs tickets, which is actually where we're going tomorrow.
On Sunday morning, we're going to get Menudo, and then on Monday night, we're going to the Dodger game because he's been a lifelong Dodger fan, so we always go to games as much as we can.
If you're like me, you try to get your dad tickets to his favorite sporting event. And if all else fails, spending time with him is always a great option. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Christina Corona, NTD News, El Monte.
Stay tuned for China in Focus with Tiffany Meyer coming up next. 7 of the world's wealthiest democracies debating plans of action to block Chinese money from Russia. More on China in Focus with Tiffany Meyer at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And that's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful weekend. And to all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day.